Hi, this is Carrie Ann with our Dressage TV show. I'm coming with you today with a special guest, and we're going to talk about a topic that she and I both suffer with. It's called polycystic ovarian syndrome. And a lot of girls out there deal with this disease from, I'm going to say, probably their start of their teenage years and up. And it can cause a lot of detrimental health-related issues. And we just want to bring a little bit of awareness to it for what I have dealt with, as well as she has dealt with throughout her young life. I'm a little bit older than her, a couple of years. But I'm going to introduce you to Keena. What do you do? Where do you go? What's your life? What do you want to do with your life?
Hi, I'm Keena Thomas, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm currently going to Cal U University, and I'm studying fisheries and wildlife biology, and I hope to work in a national park when I'm older.
So what would you be doing with that? Like working in a wild park with?
Yeah, I want to do like wildlife conservation, so like preserving our national parks is a way to preserve some of the animal life that is native to those areas. For instance, there's like certain squirrel populations in Ohio Powell State Park that aren't really found outside of the park, so we would do tracking and conservation of them to keep them safe and keep their numbers rising so that they don't go extinct.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. So we're here today to talk about polycystic ovarian syndrome. And not many people know what that is. It's a disease that kind of messes with females whenever they start their reproductive system, and it causes a lot of hormone issues and insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, and just a lot of different avenues that you have to deal with as a female whenever you start that progression of, that next stage in your life as a teenager. So tell us a little bit about, you currently have PCOS, and when were you diagnosed with it?
I was diagnosed at 13. I ended up going to a gynecologist to see if that was the reason why I was having all the issues I was having, and I ended up getting sent to the WVU hospital down in West Virginia, and I had an adolescent specialist.
Okay, so what can you tell us a little bit about some of the symptoms that you were having?
So, like, for instance, at 13, teenagers can kind of be gruesome towards bigger body people. So I had a weight issue. I had issues with hair growth. I had darkening of skin. And overall, I also believe that polycystic ovarian syndrome can affect the way you view yourself. Because with all that, and then on top of it, a hormonal imbalance, you feel down on yourself a lot of the time. That's what I would say.
No, I mean, that's true. I mean, basically now, and it's 1 in every 5 young girls still are diagnosed with PCOS, mm-hmm. and you're going in to see your doctor with the darkness around your skin, which is insulin resistance. Mm-hmm. You're going in for like the additional hair growth, which is the androgens, mm-hmm. The increase in your testosterone. You're going in for maybe menstrual cycles, mm-hmm. So you're dealing with, okay, why am I having this? Why am I having this? Why am I this? And then you're looking at everybody else within your age group, and you're like, why am I different?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit of a struggle, mm-hmm. And then you are very sensitive because you end up gaining weight.
Yes.
And
mm-hmm.
it's so we all know that in this society we are looked at as far as having like the perfect shape, the perfect body, the perfect hair, the perfect lips, the perfect, just everything. We are put into this box that society has made, and we talk about this on my Teen Talk, and it's not right, but unfortunately, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So we want to bring awareness to PCOS, and tell us a little bit about the struggles that you had since you were diagnosed, just by going to doctors, and what did they tell you, what kind of diagnosis did they give you, and remedies that they possibly had.
I would say firstly that the number one would still be to lose weight. Losing weight does help, but it doesn't completely eliminate it. And that's what it feels like they expect it to do. They feel like weight is a cure-all for PCOS, and it isn't. Losing weight isn't going to stop the excess hair growth. Losing weight isn't going to stop the fact that I have darkening of skin still. And the number one thing I would say the doctor said to me was to lose weight. And I'm not saying that lose weight can't help the situation, but losing weight isn't going to completely eliminate the fact that I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's not going to eliminate the fact that I still have excess hair, that I have the darkening of the skin. It's not going to change that. And another thing that doctors said was to use birth control. And the thing is, a lot of the time when women take birth control, they end up gaining weight. So it felt like a teeter-totter when they were telling me, oh, you have to lose weight to fix this, or we could give you birth control to fix it, but you're going to gain more weight. And it felt it was very frustrating because I'm a heavy girl. And having
We call them curvy.
Yes, you're right. Curvy girl. And just the fact that I had somebody telling me it was either A, I can lose the weight that I've been trying to lose weight for years at that point, or B, I could do something that could lead to me having normal menstruation cycles and having less hair growth, but at the same time, I would have to gain more weight. And I know it's not 100% that everyone gains weight using birth control, but from my personal experience being in college, there's a lot of girls that I know that have gained weight from being on birth control.
Well, the other thing is, too, is that if you have PCOS, it's not necessarily, there's two different sides. You can have PCOS and you could be on the opposite side that you don't gain weight. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we didn't get that side.
Yeah.
But it is the opposite side that, you don't gain weight and you just basically, you can eat and eat and eat and, nothing comes. But they also deal with infertility as well.
Yeah.
The one thing about PCOS, it's, just like you said, you're dealing with either birth control, or you're dealing with, the darkness around or the additional hair growth. You go to see electrolysis for that to try to take care of that problem. Mm-hmm. You go see, they're like, oh, you're pre-diabetic, so you may have to be on insulin shots, and then you take care of that problem. Oh, you're not not ovulating, but you're not menstruating. Mm-hmm. So therefore you got to be on the birth control for that. So it's just you're dealing with 3 or 4 different doctors to try to solve one thing, and where it does come down to, it is a hormonal imbalance that is in your system, that you have cysts on your ovaries, mm-hmm. Which is causing so many things go wrong inside of your body.
Yeah.
And it is a very stressful and very difficult disease to have as a female. Would you not say?
I absolutely agree with that.
I remember there was times I didn't get diagnosed until I was 22, mm-hmm. but at 12, my menstrual cycles were once a year. At that time, I was like, hey, all these other girls are, every month, but I was like, once a year, that's no big deal. I'm loving this. But then, now with us trying to, have a family, we deal with infertility.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle because, again, all these doctors ever say is lose weight.
Yeah.
Lose weight, you have to lose weight. And it's just, okay, so there's still something going on inside my body that all this other stuff is happening, that mm-hmm. It's not just, like you said, it's not just the magic thing is to lose weight. Yeah, that helps conditions, mm-hmm. but why is it that so many women are dealing with PCOS? And so many women are dealing with infertility, which I feel that infertility goes back to PCOS. Mm-hmm. You're not ready to have children now, but 5-10 years from now, you may find that perfect one and you want to start having a family. Mm-hmm. That could be very stressful. Am I going to deal with infertility? Mm-hmm. And it is so expensive for infertility. I just know because it's $30-some thousand just to do IVF and stuff. And what's the average person? I mean, and there's no guarantee with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just what do we do as, females? I mean, I don't know. I just know myself, I never felt like a normal female.
I completely understand that. It's almost like you're standing in a group of people and you're that one person off to the side. That's the best way to explain it.
Now, what about you? Like, I know that I have this. I can't explain. I've always had so much muscle mass that I can just lift anything. I mean, and it's like, this is like freakishly crazy to have that amount of strength, which, you know, if you have more testosterone in your body, that's where that comes from. You know, I mean, my husband works out 5 days a week. I go 1 or 2 and my muscles just like pop there. Like, I don't want that. You know, I just wanted to be that small, petite, little feminine lady, you know, that I act like I'm weak, but I probably wouldn't want that anyways. But, but what do you think, what we can do to bring awareness, to girls? You said that you have a friend that you know that you didn't realize, but she also has PCOS.
Yeah, actually, it was maybe my second week at college, and I was having a conversation with my roommate, and my roommate goes to me, and we're talking about just different things, and then she mentioned that she had polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I was like, no way. I've only met one other person with PCOS, and it turns out the next person I meet is my roommate, and now it makes me realize that there are so many girls out there with it, and a lot of them go undiagnosed, and they spend their entire lives wondering, why do I have these issues? Nobody else seems to have these issues. And I feel bad for them. I really do, because at least knowing now that I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, I know that there's nothing wrong with me. It's just a hormonal imbalance. And I feel like once knowing that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, it kind of helped me confidence-wise, because I wasn't sitting there blaming myself for these issues I was having.
Now, what is the ethnicity of your roommate?
She is half Puerto Rican and half Jamaican.
Now, the reason I asked that is because just based off of all my research, majority of the people that have PCOS is like Middle Eastern, like that Mediterranean, you know, ethnicity. Like I have a lot of Hungarian in me, you know, and that seems to be the people that end up having like the PCOS based off of that, their ethnicity. And I found that to be interesting because, you know, the girls that have come in to my store that, you know, are buying dresses and that it fits the bill as to their ethnicity as far as, you know, their background, like their DNA, you know, so I don't know if it's like predestined. And you even take a look at some women that have had miscarriages or, you know, haven't been able to have children. Because they don't test for PCOS unless you actually ask them, you know, to go to a specialist to test for that, because not a lot of people know what PCOS is.
And I feel like bringing awareness to it could help a lot of people, because because there's so many people undiagnosed, and if they learn about polycystic ovarian syndrome, and for me and my mom, it was like check off the list, and then we were like, maybe we should go get this checked out. And that's how it happened. So,
and like when you're 12, I mean, you don't want to be on birth control because what they're going to say, man, she's promiscuous, right? I mean, that's the first thing that, you know, you don't need to be on birth control because you don't need to be going out there and doing what I think you're doing, but you're not. You're just trying to get your hormones balanced. And birth control, you can get blood clots with birth control. There's a lot of side effects with birth control. We actually had a friend of the family who was on birth control, and she ended up having a blood clot and she passed away.
Wow.
So, I mean, medication sometimes is not always I believe in like holistic, is that how you say it? Holistic meditation or like medication, and, you know, trying to do like herbs and stuff, you know, to try to, you know, cleanse your body and detox because of the stuff that they add into our foods. You know, you have no idea what kind of stuff they add is going on. And like they say that like keto is supposed to be really good for women that have PCOS because you could drop quickly. But I don't necessarily think, my husband and I, we have a personal trainer, and, you know, one thing I have found is that I never like ate a lot because I was like, oh my God, if I eat all day, then, you know, I'm going to continue gaining weight. Or you feel like you have to rigorously exercise.
Yeah.
But she taught us that you have to eat like every couple hours. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on too is because, you know, I want to also, for PCOS, I want girls to be able to see that there's hope. And, you know, I noticed that, which is a success for you, that you have lost some weight.
Yes, I have.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So I want you to talk a little bit about like some of the lifestyle changes that you have made in order to be able to have some of that success, so that maybe we can help one of the girls or anybody who's out there watching dealing with PCOS, you know, that maybe if they just make a little bit of a change here, one of this symptom, I mean, PCOS is not going to go away,
Yeah.
you know, but it can help lessen some of the symptoms that you deal with. So tell us a little bit about what you decided to do with your life.
So, like, I have done so many diets in my life. I have done keto, paleo, Weight Watchers. I've done high, low calorie, low fat, you know, all of the above. And
That's why all those diet plans it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
yeah.
All those weight loss places. I should have been in that weight loss business, but that's okay. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
But I started focusing on eating protein, staying to leaner proteins, because obviously if you like red meat, you don't have to completely eliminate it, but red meat has a lot of, I think they're called carcinogens, if I'm correct, but they have a lot of things in them that aren't as good for the body as if you were to supplement them with chicken or fish. And I try to incorporate, like, I've started drinking protein shakes, and I've started just doing little things for exercise. Like, I go to the gym 3 times a week, but I only go and I do mile or 2 on the treadmill, and I do 1.5 miles on the elliptical. And me being on a college campus, I get to walk around a lot. You know, I got to walk from class to class. I got to go put posters up, go hang out with my friends. But it's honestly more of a mindset, because whenever you get down on yourself over and over and over again, I feel like it kind of makes you mess up. Because when I constantly got down on myself, I would tend to either eat more or be lazy, not be driven. And I feel like if you just look at yourself in the mirror and say that you're beautiful and that you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to, you can really just go out there and be yourself and do things that you like, because exercise is more than going to the gym and lifting weights and walking on the treadmill. Exercise is going on a walk with your friends. Exercise is going to the pool in the summer and hanging out with your friends and swimming and doing racing competitions and stuff like that. It's not just, oh, I'm going to go to the gym and get bulky. But it can be so much more. And even if you don't lose the weight, even if you're just doing these things, I feel like it does ultimately make you a healthier person. I don't really know what else to say.
No, and I think that because, you know, PCOS, I mean, it can cause depression, you know, because you just look at, I mean, I know I was there, because you just look at all the symptoms and stuff that you have to deal with, and, you know, it's just like, why me? You know, why can't I be that one that, you know, doesn't have to deal with this? It's just like, it's always a constant struggle. It's always a constant fight. And, you know, I was a cheerleader. I was always the bigger cheerleader. I played softball. I was always the bigger softball player. I was always the base in the cheerleading. I always threw the people up.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, why can't I just be thrown up one time, right? That wouldn't be good, but I'm just saying I would, you know, but it's just like, it messes with your psyche, you know, and it's taken me many years, you know, to even be to where, you know what, you just look at yourself and say, hey, I'm okay how I am.
Yeah.
You know, God made me, and this is, you know, I have to deal with these situations, you know, but, you know, how can I make the best of it?
Yeah.
You know, and I think sometimes too, exercise is a good way out, because you get like your frustrations out, or if you had a bad day, like at school or whatever, and you can just go walk on that treadmill. And that's one thing, like our trainer has said, she put us on, like, you only have to be on it for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not like you have, because I've seen people that have been on there for like an hour. You got to walk a whole entire hour just to be able to make a difference. And you
Yeah.
don't have to do that. It's just like you said, it's just like little strides and just little changes, you know. But the one thing I did learn is that you have to eat breakfast.
Yeah.
And if you don't eat, I never ate breakfast the whole time I was working in retail because I was just like, and then you eat it by the time lunch comes, you just eat a big lunch. And then, you know, one thing with PCOS, you got to keep your metabolism going and you have to eat every couple hours in order to build that metabolism, you know, to where it's helping you burn and it's not counteracting because your body feels like, you know, you're in starvation mode. So therefore it's not going to, you know, help you burn that excess weight.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and they don't teach that. You know, I mean, you take health in school, but they don't teach that part. It's all, you know, yeah, you got the 4 food groups. But I know I am very, like, my body doesn't process carbohydrates. You know, so I have to really watch. Like, I don't eat breads and stuff like that, you know, because carbohydrates, like, I just look at a carbohydrate and it's already, you know, attached to my body somehow. And I don't even eat it, right?
Yeah.
You know, but how do you feel? I mean, have you found that any of your symptoms have lessened a little bit, or?
Since I've started losing weight, I'm not saying I have a normal menstruational period, but it has been more reoccurring because there's been times I hadn't had my period for 6 or 8 months. But since I've started on my journey, I probably have had it 3 out of the 4 months, like, but they're not as regular as a girl who doesn't have polycystic ovarian syndrome is.
Okay. And then, so tell us, how much have you lost so far?
I've lost 44 pounds.
You know what? That
December.
is like amazing, sister. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you.
You know, that has to just make you feel like
Yes, it does.
just amazing.
Yeah.
You know, because I think once a little bit of success can go a long way. And you know what? I know doctors don't always have the answer. Sometimes doctors just want to put a Band-Aid on it. That's just my personal opinion. I know people, I'm not dissing anybody in the medical field, but I just think that you know your body. You know what your body does on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I'm always one to research on, you know, what can I do to maybe try to help lessen some of these, you know. I know people get laser hair removal.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not cheap.
Yeah.
You know, so you're trying, and I've had that, and it hurts.
Oh.
It hurts. I mean, you feel like I have a couple tattoos, but laser hair removal is not fun. Have you ever had that?
I've never had laser hair removal.
Your girlfriend. Yeah.
That scares me a little.
It hurts. You have a tattoo?
Yes, I do. I have 2, actually.
Okay. It hurts worse than that. I'm just saying. They're like zapping you, and it feels like it's just like, yeah. But not to scare you or anything. I mean, sorry if anybody wants to get out there. But I think that's one way that they have done that. Electrolysis, laser hair removal, waxing, you know, which, I mean, it's when you have like the darker hair and the darker skin pigment, it hurts more, you know, unfortunately. But that's why I always make sure, because I'm very paranoid. I used to have, when I was in high school, I never had acne. When I went to college, my face started breaking out with like these cyst acnes. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
I thought, like, man, I played sports, and I'm like, you should get acne then, right?
Yeah.
Not when you're in college. And that's when I started getting all these big pops. And, you know, it was made me so paranoid that I don't like people looking at even looking at me. So that's why I make sure everything is like perfect, so that nobody can sit there and judge, because unfortunately we're in a world that everybody judges.
Yeah, everyone's
right?
very judgmental.
You know, but I think that, you know, you have to become like you. I think from the day I met you, you have such a strong personality, and I think you have so many positive qualities that, you know, I was very impressed whenever you first came to my store for your dress. And I just think that, you know what, I looked at myself, I'm like, you know what, she is a very confident individual, you know, and like hats off to, you know, your parents for, you know, your mom, your family for really instilling that into you, because I think that that's where it also comes from too, because sometimes when you have that bad day, where do you go?
Yeah.
You know, I used to just go in my room. I'm not saying my parents weren't, there or anything, but I just mean that reassurance that you get that you're beautiful. And the one thing I will tell you that, just from hearing like your mom, she and I went to school together, she does a very lot of positive reinforcement with her kids, and I think that is so important. And I think, there's a lot of kids out there that need that as well. It's tough enough as it is to try to make it through this world on a daily basis. But I think that, when you have that support, it kind of really helps out a little bit more when you're having that bad day.
Yeah, it does.
Because that was the one thing I will tell you. So I hope that is a positive for you. But I just think that you have so much inside that, is just so beautiful, that I think that you should be very proud of that. As well as, your mom being very proud of the young girl that she did raise. And I think that, polycystic is just a disease that both of us have.
Yeah.
But, we will, you continue losing the weight, and hopefully one day, like, I will end up having my family, versus, me just being in other statistics, because that's one thing that I struggle with. I mean, we're different age groups, but, my husband and I have been trying to have children for 11 years now. And it is so stressful and challenging that you cannot even believe. And I just pray that you never get to that point with PCOS when you're sitting there at, 46 and you're like, man, why do I have to have this disease and all these other people are able to have children?
Yeah.
So that's why I feel it's so important to bring awareness to PCOS, because you are so young that I want you to be able to have something that I have not been able to have, So anything that we can do, and I know that we're going to try to have a fashion show to bring PCOS awareness with Magee Women's Hospital in September.
Okay.
Certainly would love for you. I know we've talked about this before. Would love you to be a part of that fashion show, because I just think there's so many more women out there that deal with it. And, I think that's why there's a lot of infertility, a lot of miscarriages. And I didn't know I had cysts on my ovaries until you get to that point where you want to have a family, and it's just like, wow, this is what's all going on, So I think by you coming on today and talking about your story and your challenges that you have gone on and where you have had successes with your weight loss, and I think that's amazing. You're still beautiful inside and out, and I think you have so much potential. And, I would love for you to continue helping me with raising awareness of PCOS, because there's just so many girls and women out there that, deal with it. And, I want to become an advocate for that, because I always said, if you can help one person, you've done what you've came here for, because we're all supposed to be here to love everybody.
Yep.
Unconditional love, and to help one another. And sometimes the meanness in the world is beyond, because it's not so much like before we started recording, it's not so much that, because people do look at you just as weight, and it's not so much that, there's more going on than just sitting there like I eat a bunch of bonbons, or I'm eating a whole gallon of ice cream, or I'm just eating bad. I'm not eating bad. There's something going on in my system that my hormones are messed up. And that's all PCOS is.
Absolutely.
But I think if we can bring more awareness to it and talk about it more, then maybe eventually there'll be some cure for it. And so, like, girls like you and myself don't have to struggle and don't have to feel as if we're not like a normal female. Like, I feel broken sometimes, so but on that note, do you have anything else that you would like to share? Or
Honestly, if you're having any issues like this, maybe if depending on your age, if you're an adult, obviously go to your doctors, but if you're a teenager, just talk to your parents and be like, hey, there's a chance that I might have this, and it's better to be safe than go into your 20s and then you're trying to have a child and you are wondering why your period's messed up and all that kind of stuff. I would just, I would rather be safe than sorry, honestly.
Nope, and I agree with Kina, because it is a challenging, and try to detect it early if you're having the symptoms. And we'll also put up at the end of this show some of the symptoms that if you are having as a female, to maybe think about, hey, that might be what I'm dealing with is PCOS, and we'll post that at the end of our show. And the one thing is, you want to try to catch it young, because you don't want to be 46 sitting here. I think I said earlier I was 47. I aged myself 1 year. I am 46, so I still have a few more months. But my husband and I, we have been trying for 11 years to have children, and it has been very challenging because of this disease, and certainly, it's very disheartening. But we have decided to do foster parenting, and we're hoping that we will end up, helping some other child out there to, bring into our home and have a loving and safe home environment. But on the other end, if you are dealing with infertility, you may want to go check to see if you do have PCOS, because that is the number one reason why infertility does exist, is because of PCOS, and it does go undetected. So if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to myself here at Dressage. I'm sure Kina will be happy to also answer any questions with what she's doing with her weight loss journey. And that's Carrie Ann for our Dressage TV show. We hope you like it. We hope you were informed. And look for the symptoms after the end of the show, so that you can see if you go into one of those boxes, so then you can go and get help. And I know Magee Women's Hospital is very good with working with women with PCOS syndrome and can possibly help you. This is Carrie Ann, out.